There is a small private shame that arrives when someone else appears happy at exactly the moment we feel unfinished. A colleague announces a promotion, a friend posts photographs from a bright vacation with someone they love. A person you barely know seems to be living inside the kind of ease you have been trying to build. You're not cruel, you may even be glad for them. But underneath the polite congratulations, something tightens. Their happiness seems to throw light on your own delay. The mind asks its familiar questions. Why not me? What have I done wrong? When did I fall behind? This is an emotional trick of comparison. It turns another person's good fortune into evidence against your life. Their engagement becomes a commitment on your solitude. Their new apartment becomes a judgment on your savings. Their calm face at dinner becomes proof that you are managing adulthood badly. A happiness that belongs entirely to someone else begins to feel like an accusation addressed to you. But another person's happiness is not a verdict. It is not a bill you have failed to pay. It is not a door closing in your direction. Modern life makes happiness unusually visible. In earlier eras, a person might have known the milestones of neighbors, cousins, colleagues, and close friends. Now, we are invited to witness hundreds of curated lives in passing. Weddings, children, promotions, bodies, meals, holidays, kitchens, love, confidence, fresh starts. Each scene arrives without the private cost attached to it. We see the glow, not the negotiation. The result, not the waiting. The smile, not the season that made it difficult to smile. The comparison is therefore unequal from the beginning. You compare your full weather to someone else's best light. Even when we know this intellectually, the body can still respond as if the image were complete truth. A picture of someone else's happiness can enter the mind faster than wisdom can stop it. It does not say, here is one beautiful moment in another person's complicated life. It says, look how easily they are getting what you still do not have. The curiosity is not in their joy. The curiosity is in the story you attach to it. Social comparison is one of the mind's oldest habits. We learn where we stand by looking around. As children, we compare speed, height, praise, grades, attention. As adults, the comparison becomes quieter but more sophisticated. Career speed, romantic security, body shape, money, freedom, taste, emotional stability, and the apparent beauty of someone else's choices. Comparison can sometimes teach us. It can show us what is possible, what we admire, what we may want to cultivate. But when comparison becomes the main way we locate ourselves, it turns life into a ranking system with no finish line. There will always be someone who seems happier, more loved, more certain, more elegant, more successful, more rested, more visibly chosen by life. If your peace depends on being ahead of them, peace will become nearly impossible. This is where the fear of other person's happiness begins. It is not only envy. Envy is often simpler. I want what they have. The deeper fear says, if they have it and I do not, perhaps I am the kind of person who will never have it. Their happiness becomes a prophecy about your absence from happiness. Their fullness becomes your lack. Their timing becomes your failure. This is a terrible way to live. It gives strangers, acquaintances, and even beloved friends the power to define the emotional value of your day. A person can perfectly content in the morning and miserable by lunch because someone else posted a life event. They can be grateful for their quiet apartment until a photograph of another person's home makes it look insufficient. They can enjoy solitude until another person's marriage turns solitude into acquisition. Nothing about their actual life changed. Only the comparison entered and immediately rearranged the room. We often think we need more happiness. Actually, what we need is fewer borrowed measurements. A borrowed measurement is any standard we did not choose but keep using to punish ourselves. The age by which one should marry, the salary by which one should feel legitimate, the kind of love that proves one is lovable, the visible life that proves one has not wasted time. These measurements really come from the deepest part of us. They come from family expectation, social performance, market design, cultural noise, and the exhausted human need to know whether we're doing life correctly. But there may be no single correct life. There may only be a life that becomes more honest as it is lived. This does not mean we should pretend not to want anything. It does not mean turning disappointment into a performance of wisdom. It is painful to want love and not yet have it, to work hard and still feel unseen, to watch someone else receive the thing you have been quietly praying for. The task is not to shame yourself for feeling that pain. The task is to keep it from becoming a theory of your worth. You can be sad without being defeated. You can be behind in one visible category without being behind in your life. You can admire someone else's happiness without concluding that yours has been denied. The turn begins when comparison becomes information instead of punishment. Instead of asking, why do they have this and I do not? One might ask, what does my reaction reveal about what I value? If someone's professional success unsettles you, perhaps ambition in you is asking for attention. If someone's loving partnership makes you ache, perhaps tenderness is still something you deeply want. If someone's calm, routine life makes yours feel scattered, perhaps you are not jealous so much as hungry for a steadier rhythm. This is useful. Punishment says, I am failing. Information says, something in me is asking to be built. The distinction can change the whole direction of life. Instead of turning outward with resentment, the energy turns inward with agency. You begin to ask better questions. What can I practice? What can I strengthen? What do I actually want? Apart from wanting not to feel inferior. And perhaps most importantly, what kind of happiness would still feel true if no one applauded it? Much of what we call happiness is really visibility. We want a life that feels good, but we also want a life that looks unmistakably good to others. We want the proof, the picture, the announcement, the obvious milestone, the kind of joy that requires no explanation. But some of the happiest parts of a life is not photogenic. They are quiet, slow, repetitive, inwardly known. The morning routine that steadies you, the book that changes your thinking, the friendship that does not need discipline, the body you learn to treat more gently, the work that becomes yours through persistence. These forms of happiness are easy to overlook because they do not defeat anyone. They do not announce superiority. They simply make a life more habitable. You should turn inward toward the work that you must do, can do, and truly longs to do. It is a way of refusing to live by the temperature of other people's visible lives. The question is not whether someone else is happier. The question is whether you are moving closer to the life that asks for your real participation. A friend's marriage cannot tell you whether you are learning how to love. A colleague's salary cannot tell you whether you are becoming skillful. A stranger's glamour cannot tell you whether you are loyal to your own becoming. The older one gets, the clearer it becomes that happiness does not arrive in one official shape. Some people are happiest inside a family. Some are happiest in solitude that no longer feels exile. Some find meaning in work, some in care, some in faith, some in art, some in movement, some in the slow repair of the life that once felt broken. There are people who have everything you were taught to want and still cannot sleep. There are people with unremarkable lives who carry a deep and private ease. To stop fearing another person's happiness is to stop believing that joy is a limited resources being distributed unfairly in front of you. Life is not a single banquet table where someone else's portion reduces yours. Their love does not make you unlovable. Their success does not make your effort meaningless. Their radiance does not darken the room unless you hand it the power. There is enough difficulty in being human without turning happiness into competition. There is enough uncertainty without treating someone else's good news as your bad news. There is enough work to do inside your own life. Return there. Return to the book you are reading, the skill you're practicing, the body you're caring for, the room you're making peaceful, the friendship you're tending, the grief you're learning to carry, the future you're building quietly. These things may not look dazzling from the outside. They may not produce the kind of evidence that silences comparison immediately. But they are yours, and that matters. Your life is not made less sacred because someone else's life is beautiful. Your happiness is not delayed because someone else's has arrived. The fact that another person seems to be blooming does not mean you are barren. Do not be afraid that others will be happier than you. Instead, be afraid of becoming so distracted by their happiness that you abandon the slow construction of your own. There is no peace in measuring every life against yours. There is only the endless exhaustion of turning the world into a scoreboard. Step away from the board. Let others leave their visible chapters. Write the one has been placed in your hands, patiently, quietly, without making other person's joy your injury. One day, you may find that happiness did not require you to outrank anyone. It only required you to come home to your own life and stay long enough to build something real. Thanks for watching this video. I'm Yu. Follow me for more to level up your mind.